Scarlet Crusade was one of World of Warcraft's most infamous factions. Fanatics, zealots, righteous killers convinced the only way to save the world was to burn it clean. We faced them before, in dungeons, in Northrend, in Scarlet Hall soaked with blood and fire. We saw them rise, fall, and rise again. Even recently, in Gilneas, their banners returned, their message rekindled. A reminder that you never can truly kill an idea, especially when the idea wears the light like armor. But what if they're not done? What if midnight is the perfect storm, not just for the void to rise, but for the light to push back harder than ever? Today I want to show you how the Scarlet Crusade could return in midnight, not just as a dungeon, but as a major faction with real influence over the entire expansion. Let's rewind for a second. The Scarlet Crusade rose from the ashes of Lordran's fall, born out of grief, fear, and holy fire. Survivors of the Scourge who clung to the light not just for protection, but for purpose. And over time, that purpose twisted into something terrifying. They weren't content just to destroy the undead, they saw corruption everywhere. In Forsaken who reclaimed their bodies, in fellow humans who hesitated, and in other races whose very existence challenged their worldview. Anyone who questioned their zealotry was branded a traitor to the light. What started as a righteous resistance became a fanatic regime, a church-turned army, a crusade without end. They preached salvation, but what they brought was fire and blade. Over time, players dismantled their leadership, Whitemane, Doan, Mulgrain. We stormed their halls and broke their armies again and again. Their cathedrals became our battlegrounds. But even then, the ideology never really died, because the Scarlet Crusade wasn't just built on soldiers, it was built on fear. And fear, once planted, doesn't fade, it waits and it festers. And in times of panic, ideologies like that don't just survive, they spread. Enter Midnight, an expansion centered on the Void invading Quel'thalas, and perhaps spreading far beyond. Shadows swallowing cities, magic unraveling at its core, cults rising in every darkened corner, everything once sacred crackling under the pressure of madness. And in that chaos, the Scarlet Crusade wouldn't just see opportunity, they'd see prophecy fulfilled. A vindication of every sermon they've ever shouted, that the world is sick from the void, that the light, harsh, unrelenting, and purifying, can cleanse it. They wouldn't rebuild in secret this time. No disguises, no whispers. They'd return as a public force, brazened, empowered, apocalyptic, their sermons echoing through broken towns, their red and gold banners rising in villages where people feel abandoned, forgotten, afraid. They may not change their name, but they would escalate their purpose. This isn't just about purging the undead anymore, it's a holy war against the void. In the eyes of the Scarlet Crusade, anything touched by it is fallen, and pain is the cure. The irony? They're not entirely wrong. The void is creeping in. Whispers are growing louder. Cults are spreading. And that fear, that small, undeniable seed of truth, is all the Scarlet Crusade needs to ignite another campaign. One larger than ever. And that's the real danger. Not just the void, but how people respond to it. The fear, the zealotry, the silence from leadership. That's where the Scarlet Crusade thrives. And their banners wouldn't just rise in theory, they'd rise across the Eastern Kingdoms. So let's take a closer look at some potential strongholds where the Scarlet Crusade could spread and just how far their expansion might reach. First, we turn to the Eastern Plaguelands, where the Scarlet Enclave, once a shadow relic of fanaticism, now rises from the ashes. The old Crusade's training ground, once consumed by the Lich King's fury, now become the proving grounds for a new order. Scarlet War Priests return to these haunted towers, rebaptizing the ruins with light and flame. They rebuild in the shadow of Acheris, surrounded by cursed soil, as if to prove the light can still shine where death once ruled. And just across the blighted fields, Light's Hope Chapel still stands, holy ground, and a silent witness to both past atrocities and present defiance. The Scarlet Enclave now rises between two powers, the Death Knights of the Ebon Blade and the Light's own defenders. But here's the question, why haven't they been stopped? Maybe the Ebon Blade is scattered, maybe the Argent Crusade is stretched too thin, and while the champions of light and death stand watch against the coming void, the fanatics rebuild in their blind spot. Massive altars rise again, powered by unstable light rituals. Red crystal spires hum with raw energy. The old fanatic chants echo once more, now layered with new verses, not just against the undead, but against the arcane, the void, and heresy in all its forms. This isn't nostalgia, it's escalation, and the ruins that once symbolized a failed crusade now stand as a beacon to its rebirth. And yet, they're not done. The real expansion, the one that could shake the entire North Continent, is still to come, and it starts just south of Silvermoon. As the Void tightens its grip on the Eastern Kingdoms, Quel'thalas becomes a front line, and the Scarlet Crusade moves in like purifiers on a holy mission. They don't go near Silvermoon itself, that's a different battlefield entirely, one left to the larger conflict of Midnight. Instead, they focus on the southern lands, the Ghostlands and Eversong Woods. Old scars from the Scourge still linger there, and the Void has begun to fill them. To the Scarlet Faithful, this is sacred ground, a place that must be reclaimed before the corruption spreads further, not saved, not reasoned with, but cleansed. They torch ruins, they build shrines in light and broken villages. They preach that the only way to start the darkness is with fire. Possible questlines could include Horde players working to dismantle Crusader camps threatening Eversong borders, Blood Elf defenders torn between their history and what must be done, Void Elves trying to broker uneasy truce as the real threat approaches. The Crusade doesn't need a capital, they have faith, and faith, in times like this, becomes fire. But while the Scarlet Crusade marches on Quel'thalas from the outside, their true seat of power lies farther south, where it all began. Tirisfal Glades. The Scarlet Monastery, once a cathedral of blood and faith, has been rebuilt. Not quietly, not carefully, but in secret, and then revealed in fire. Candles now light the halls again, red banners hang above stone pews, indoctrination sermons echo from cracked spires, while Rav missionaries roam the countryside, preaching the return of holy order. And for Forsaken players, the nightmare returns. Lightforged Inquisitors now patrol the fields outside Brill, declaring anyone touched by death or shadow unclean. This isn't just vengeance, it's reclamation. To the Scarlet Faithful, Tirisfal is a holy wound, a place that must bleed before it can be healed. And the monastery, it's their altar. Now I know what you might be thinking, Scarlet Monastery again? We've seen it in Classic, we saw it revamped in Mists of Pandaria, so why bring it back a third time? Because this time, it's not a nostalgic revisit, it's an evolution. In Classic, the monastery was a symbol of misguided zeal. In Mist, it was a crumbling order clinging to a faded dogma. But in Midnight, it's become something new, something terrifying, a fortress of fanaticism, a weapon of holy war, aimed at both Horde and Alliance alike. Think of it as Scarlet Monastery ascended, not just 4 wings, but one mega dungeon woven through with corrupted light, void-born paranoia, and the kind of ideology warfare that defines the expansion. The wings are no longer separate halls, they are transformed into a labyrinth of belief, each representing a pillar of the Scarlet Crusade's twisted dogma: faith, judgment, war, revelation. As you descend deeper into its sanctum, everything shifts. The light no longer comforts, it blinds. The monastery doesn't feel like a place of worship anymore, it feels like a weapon. Bosses might include its spiritual successor to Whitemane, now channeling both light and shadow, torn between holy rebirth and a corrupted legacy. A void-touched Scarlet Traitor, hidden in the clergy's inner circle, trying to steer the crusade from within. The Grand Crusader himself, a former paladin, fully radicalized, invoking dangerous light rituals that tear open reality like a divine storm. This dungeon wouldn't just be a return, it would be a message, a statement that at midnight, even the light can become a threat, depending on who wields it. Scarlet Crusade isn't just a dungeon, it's an idea, and at midnight, that idea could help drive the story itself. They think they're saving the world, cleansing it, but in doing so, they might become one of its greatest threats. So what do you think? Is the Scarlet Crusade coming back? Let me know your theory in the comments. Like and subscribe for more WoW Midnight predictions, and thanks for watching. It's me, Mook.